Hey, eBay sellers, it's Suzanne A. Wells, and I have another seller success story. Today, I'm talking with Stacey, who was able to make enough money in 6 months from her eBay business to pay cash for a car for her daughter.
Okay, here's the backstory on Stacey before we get into the interview. On December 29th, 2018, she put a post on my Facebook group and she was publicly announcing that she was going to save up enough money to buy her daughter a car. She said, I've been putting a lot of your ideas into place and my sales are picking up. I've sold 6 things in 2 days. eBay is a hobby for me. My daughter turned 16 in June of 2019, and I'm hoping to sell enough things between now and then to buy her a decent car. So she has publicly put that out there, and then she came back around in June of 2019 and gave us an update. She said, I made a post about 6 months ago saying that I was going to really focus on selling stuff on eBay so I could buy my daughter a car on her 16th birthday. With a lot of hard work and dedication, I was able to do just that. I sold stuff on eBay and on the Facebook Marketplace. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. My next challenge is to pay off debt. Her daughter got her license today, and here is her car. And here's the video that she posted on Facebook.
Oh no.
So I wanted to get Stacey on to tell her story because anybody can do this. It's just a matter of setting some goals and being consistent. So, Stacey, where are you located?
I live in Loveland, Ohio.
Okay, and so is that a good sourcing area for eBay?
It is. We have a lot of yard sales in our neighborhood, which that's usually where I start is yard sales. And we do have a Goodwill, which is 5 minutes away from my house.
Okay, so you've got plenty around there to do. Now, you kind of got a jump start on your eBay business with a free estate sale clean out thing. Can you explain how that happened?
Yes, I was on Facebook and I just happened to find a lady out there who needed help cleaning this this estate out. And she said I could come and get the books and have them for free if I cleaned them out. And then she got, further into cleaning the house, and the house was full of clothes. Every closet was packed full of clothes, and there was hangers and rooms. And she's like, I got a week to get all this out. If you can clean it out for me, you can have it all for free. And it was August of 2014 when this happened. And it took me 4 days to get all the clothes out. There was so much. So I even bribed my daughters. I'm like, I'll get you Starbucks and come help me clean this house out. And they did. And my husband, he helped as well with the heavier stuff.
And you just put everything in your garage.
Yes, everything was in my garage, which I sent pictures of, and it was, my garage has never been that full since that day.
How long did it take you to work through everything, just to kind of thin out what was in your garage so that it was kind of back to normal?
It took me about 2 years to clean all that out. Some of it, was really nice. It had tags on it. Things were brand new. A lot of vintage clothing came out of that house as well. So that was good. Um, and I just would work at it every day, every weekend. Some of it, I gave away. Some of it I sent to Goodwill, and what I knew I could sell on eBay, I focused on that. It was a little overwhelming, but
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a lot of that going on with estate sales and downsizing and people, not just that they are passing away and what are you going to do with their stuff, but all kinds of things happen. They have to go to assisted living, or there's a family emergency and they have to move in with an aging parent, or, all kinds of reasons, or they're just moving, they get a transfer with their job, or their spouse does, and they have to move. So, and people have asked me, oh, I can get all this stuff. Should I do it? And there's a lot of logistics to think about, because, where are you going to put it? How are you going to get it there? Where are you going to put it? And is it worth reselling? So this isn't just something that you're like, oh yeah, I'll take it. And you get in your car and you go over there. You got to think about how you're going to do it.
Right. I think I brought home 6 vanfuls filled to the top, and that's what was in my garage.
So you said the lady had a shopping problem?
Yeah, she was a hoarder and a shopaholic, because literally I would say 85% of the things that I got out of the house had tags on it still. And it was a 3-story house, and every closet was full of stuff. And I kept asking the lady, are you sure you want me to take all this stuff? She's like, yes, I have to have it out in a week. And I guess she didn't realize how much stuff was in that house.
Well, and this is not an uncommon story. I have heard this so many times with people that have sellers that have stumbled on this. And you just, when it's you doing it, you're the shopper, it just piles up and you don't realize how much is in there. And in the world we live in right now, it's so easy to accumulate with online shopping, and, TJ Maxx is having their 90% off, and, all these things. And people who have that addiction to shopping, it's, they just can't leave a bargain behind, even if it's something they'll never use. They have to have it. And so this is much more common than you would think. The amount of stuff, and for you to have figured out how to do that, and you have 2 years worth of inventory to sell that you got for free, because you work full time. You don't have time to go shopping for stuff as much as other people.
No, I don't. And it's kind of good though, because I feel like I get a lot of stuff for free, because I have a lot of family and friends that know that I sell stuff on eBay. So they always bring it to me first, which is a good thing.
Which can be good or bad when you have to say no. And it's like, I don't really want that.
Yeah, it does get overwhelming, especially when you have a lot of stuff. And my husband would be like, are you sure you can handle all this? I'm like, it's not going to be here forever. It will be gone once I sell it on eBay. So it was fun. It was a totally fun experience. I would do it all over again if it ever came up again.
So what do you do at your day job?
I'm a banker. I've been in the banking world for about 20 years. And my current job, the company that I work for, I've been there 17 and a half years now. So.
And what do you do?
I work in the deposit services area. I deal with like W-8s and W-9s. When you open up an account, you have to fill all that paperwork out, and we approve them or deny them. And I do talk to a lot of customers on the phone with adjustment issues that they have with their account.
So you're very methodical and organized and structured in your day job, and that seems to flow over to eBay for you.
Yes, I'm very organized. I have to know where everything is. And plus it helps me because I work 40 hours a week. So if I keep my eBay stuff organized and I'm able to find it. It just saves so much time.
Well, and that helps with the overwhelm part, because you do have to look at it as like, okay, even if I just do 10 things a day, or whatever it is that your goal is, even 5 things a day, because when you work full time, there's just not a whole lot of time to do this. And you've got family, and you got to get home and do the dinner and do the activities
Right.
with the kids and spend some time with your husband and have some time for you. And so you have to think about it as like just little, eat the elephant one bite at a time kind of thing. And if I do 5 things a day, okay, that's 150 things a month. So
Right.
eventually you're going to get through it all.
That's how I do it too. I try to do 3 or 5 things a day, like taking pictures and listing stuff. And I even use my breaks and my lunches when I'm at work to do my research and get items ready to list that night when I come home.
And that's really smart because, well, first the thing is addicting. I mean, you want to do it all the time.
Yes.
And I do this full time, and I have been for a long time. And there's still not enough hours in the day, because there's always like, it's just the nature of the business is it's unlimited. And there's just some nights I'm like, I just cannot do one more thing. I've got all that stuff to list, but I just cannot look at that computer for one more second.
I know. I try to just, my thing to get past that is when I get home from work, I make sure I cook dinner, clean up whatever I need to do. And I never sit down until I know I'm completely done. And it's like, if I want to get a few things on eBay, don't sit down, just get up and do what I need to do. What was the goal I set to list today? And I just go with that. And it's worked well for me.
Well, and you get it that you're not letting it take over your life. You have to have boundaries with this, even when you're full time, because it's just the shopping is the fun part, and everybody loves that. But you don't make any money unless you get it listed. And we have a link to your store under the video so people can see what kind of things you sell and how you do it. So let me back up a little bit and ask, when did you actually start selling on eBay?
I started December of 2012, and they only give you a limit amount that you can list at first. And my very first item actually that I sold, it was sold to a scammer. It was a baby toy, and they reported me to eBay and gave me a bad negative review. And I fought it. I wrote eBay and I said, look, they're trying to say this toy doesn't work. And it was like a stuffed animal, and it made noises, the legs, and one of the legs didn't make noise. And they tried to say it had a defect. And I had bought it from Kohl's on clearance, and I knew that's just how it's made. And I sent eBay a message and explained all that, and come to find out they were a big scammer, scamming people on eBay for the same exact toy. And I won. They took my bad review back, and I'm like, nothing's gonna stop me. I'm gonna sell this stuff on
Well,
eBay.
and that's an unusual situation. So if you're new out there listening, most of the time that does not happen. I have a few videos on these different common scams, but so Stacey just kind of had her bad experience right out of the gate. And you figured it out and you got through it, and here we are like 7 years later and you're just fine. So so what was the push to get you started selling?
Well, my husband, being he just wanted to start our own business, something to help out, when we ran short and we needed, money to pay bills and extra stuff that that always seems to come up. Okay. So I finally did it. I actually started selling stuff around the house. My girls were probably 10 and 12 at the time, and they had tons of clothes that they no longer could wear. And actually, I made them clean their closets out, and they they still do it to this day. They constantly throw stuff in the eBay room. Here, Mom, I don't want this. You can sell it. And that's, I mean, that's how I started, just selling their old clothes that they grew out of.
So your husband kind of suggested it. Does he help you with the business?
He, not listing or taking pictures, but he does help. Like if I'm going on a run to buy a big lot or something, and I can't carry it all, he does come and help load everything up in the car and then bring it home and gets it out, and then I sort through
Okay,
it.
so he's supportive, but you're like, okay, is it one of those situations where it's like I can do it faster by myself?
Um, yeah, and I would say, yeah, because I can move faster. And plus, I'm always worried, like, if you don't list something right on eBay the way it's supposed to be, I'm afraid I'm going to get, a bad review. Feedback means a lot to me.
Right, right.
So it's like you can help with the outside part that I do to collect the stuff I want to sell on eBay, and then I'll take the pictures and list it.
Okay, so you're a team basically. He's supportive of what you do, which that's a huge help. I mean, even if it's just like, hey, can you clean up the kitchen while I get busy listing stuff, and things behind the scenes where he's helping around the house, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and even my daughters, they do a lot of cleaning for me. Sometimes they make dinner, do the laundry, so I can focus on eBay.
Well, that's great because they're at the age now where they can do that. They're old enough to jump in and help you out because the mom shouldn't have to do everything.
Right, right.
Okay, so let's go on to what kind of things do you sell? Are you specializing in one area, or are you just open for anything?
If I can figure out how to pack it and ship it, I'll list it. I'm open for anything. If I can make a couple dollars off of something and sell it on eBay, and then that's what I do. I don't, the only thing that I don't sell on eBay is glass stuff because I'm always afraid it's going to break. So,
I just hate packing it. I don't know what it is. I just don't enjoy that at all. It's just like, oh. And I sold something the other day. It was a Ziploc sealer system thing. And I'm like, why did I buy this? I'm going to have to ship it. I mean, it was okay. I'd seen people selling them and I was like, oh, this is a great thing. I got it at a garage sale. And then it came time to ship it. And I was like, oh, why did I do that?
done that. And then sometimes you're going around the house trying to find something that you're going to package it in. And I've done that hours before, like 2 hours looking for the box, the perfect box that I can ship something in. And that's why I'm like, well, I'm going to stick to the easier stuff,
Yeah. You learn as you go. That's definitely true. I mean, I don't mind things like coffee mugs and little things, but I'm just like everybody else. I get so excited when I see something that's high dollar and it's like, oh, I could sell that. And it's like, oh yeah, I have to ship it. But I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack from people. They're like, oh, shipping's nothing. I love that. It's just what you like. eBay's all about what you like, and you run your business the way you want to, because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to do it.
Right, exactly.
So how many items do you have for sale now?
I believe there's 256 items out there right now.
Okay. Is that kind of the range you stay in?
Yeah, because me working full time, my time is limited. So it's good. I try to keep 200 to 250 items out there.
Well, and as you're listing, things are selling, and that's a good amount to have for like search engine optimization. You have enough in your store so that things are constantly selling through, and you have a lot of different kinds of items, which is definitely diversification is really important, I think, as far as just getting different kinds of buyers in your store, or maybe this time of year, one thing's a slow mover, but another thing's not. So the more diverse you are, the better. So let's talk about your business itself and how you run it. So I know we have a lot of people listening that are also full-time trying to transition. And then we've got those baby boomers who are trying to get something set up so that when they can retire. And I want to say to you baby boomers out there who are just changing the face of retirement, because I love to see this. You know, my parents were in the silent generation, so they were before the baby boomers, and then I'm a Gen X. So, you know, my parents' idea of retirement is you work your tail off your entire life, and then you sit around for 25 years and you don't do anything. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be able to do that at all. So,
Right.
you know, a lot of these baby boomers that are, you know, they don't want to be bored, and they're smart. They want to be stimulated. They want something interesting to do, and they want to just seamlessly move into this business when they retire so that they've got extra money, and their kids don't want their stuff.
Right.
Most of the time, you know, they have all this stuff and the kids don't want it. And then one of them told me the other day, he's like, yeah, I'm spending my kids' inheritance. I'm not leaving them anything. I worked hard and I'm going to enjoy this.
Right.
So I know you're not that age group. Are you Gen X?
I think I'm 42, so
Yeah. Okay. So you're right in there with your parents might probably be baby boomers.
yes. Right.
So it's like, you know, this is the business model they're looking at is 2 to 3 years before retirement, get this set up, and then it's there, it's established. They have a good reputation. So you're doing that model already. Do you have any desire to do eBay full time? Or I can imagine with your bank job, you've got some good benefits you're not going to leave.
Yeah, I maybe someday. My husband will be able to retire before me, but when he retires, if it pans out, you know, maybe I'll retire early. That's the plan.
Yeah, because all the, you know, 401k and the health insurance and all of that is really hard to walk away from.
Yeah, that's, you know, I love my job, but that is a good benefit because we get a lot of benefits, the health care and the 401k and all that stuff. So it's hard for me to walk away from that. Maybe someday, if I'm lucky and eBay really starts going really well.
Well, if you're in your early 40s, then you've got a lot of time left to get that 401k built up.
Yes.
And you still got kids at home, so you need that health insurance. So,
Yes.
I mean, a lot of times people come to eBay because they got downsized or whatever, and they were forced into early retirement. It's, you know, was not their plan, which how much of life is ever our plan? It's always changing.
Right. It is. You never know one day to the next, you know, but
Right. You know, if something happened with your job, you would have this set up and you could just go with it. So
I would.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job with it. So let's talk about the thing with the car. You put on my Facebook group and you said you kind of made a public announcement. So like, I'm doing this. I'm going to make enough money to buy my daughter a car. So talk about how that worked out for you.
Well, I mean, I started in October, you know, like I'm going to start, you know, focus on whatever I sell on eBay. I'm going to save it for Maggie's car. And by December, I had already watched all your videos that you put out. And there was one, you know, 38 ways to increase your sales or something. And what are you doing? What kind of mistakes are you making? So I watched that video in December and I took a whole bunch of notes. I did everything you said. And I'm like, I'm serious. I'm really going to do this and focus on making enough money to buy her a car. And I just, every day, I have a little planner. I write everything in. And one of the to-do things every single day was to list at least 3 things on eBay. And I did from January to May, that I did it nonstop. There's some late nights too that I was up just making sure I did what you said, you know, on the videos, and I corrected a lot of listings and I put a lot of new ones out there as well. And I, it worked. I mean, I was able to come up with enough money to pay for her car, and just hard work and dedication. It really paid off.
Where did you buy her car from? Was it from a dealership or individual person?
It was from a dealership.
So you just kind of walked in there and just gave them a check and paid for it.
Yes.
And how did that feel?
It was great. It was super great. And two, my daughter knew, Maggie knew that I was working towards that. And I think it was a good thing because she got to see, like, if you work hard and you dedicate yourself and you're consistent, anything is possible. Anything. And I was shocked, you know, between selling stuff on eBay and the Facebook marketplace, I was able to pay for her car.
Have you ever done that before? Just paid cash for a car?
I did probably like 3 years, not 3 years. We bought a Honda Odyssey, a used one, back in 2013, I believe. And we did have enough money to pay cash for that car, but it wasn't from eBay or Facebook.
Right. So I think that's so commendable because, you know, the world we live in, again, it's just so easy to go get a loan. And, you know, even if it's a high interest rate loan because your credit's not great or whatever reason, but when you look at how much interest you're paying, you know, how much more something costs when you have to finance it, it's that whole delayed gratification. If you just make a goal and work for it and just say, you know, this isn't going to last forever. This, you know, working for this goal, we're going to get there. And then you walk into the dealership. The same thing happened to my daughter when she was 21. She was doing her own eBay business and Amazon, and she saved enough money to buy. It was exactly the same kind of car, Honda Civic. So when I saw that, I was like, look, Melanie, it's the same as yours. And I think hers was $8,000. So, you know, shopped around, picked one out, got a check, walked in there and paid it. And I said, you have no idea how many adults, like, yeah, she's an adult at 21, but you know, how many people way older than you would love to be able to do that and just buy a car with cash. And
it's a great feeling. I mean, the way I felt, it was just overwhelming, but it was joyful because I knew I did it all on my own by selling eBay and on the Facebook marketplace. And there's not another feeling like it. It's just awesome. Well, my next goal, next year is our 20-year wedding anniversary, and we would love to go to Hawaii. I've never been there. And we want to take the girls because my oldest is 18 now and Maggie's 16. And that would just be a great vacation for all of us to go and celebrate our 20-year anniversary and hang out with our kids. So
that's very doable. And when you do like Airbnb and you just figure it out ahead of time, it's very doable.
Yes. And we get airline miles and through our credit card. So we have enough airline miles to go to Hawaii and pay for everyone's tickets because we've been saving so long.
Well, that's a, you know, half of it right there is the airline cost. You know, Airbnb, you can get an entire place for less than $100 a night.
Really?
Depending on where you are and all that kind of stuff, but it's really affordable. You know, it's very doable.
Yeah, I will definitely try that. What is it called?
It's Airbnb. It's where people rent out their maybe part of their home, or it's like a rental home, but it's you know, it's somebody owns it. And it's just cheaper. It's very competitive. So there's a lot of people who want your business, and it's just much more affordable than a hotel at $250 a night because, you know, Hawaii is super expensive. But now we've got this whole Airbnb system where you can get an entire house for $100 a night or somewhere around there, depending on how many bedrooms and all that. And it's, you know, you get the whole house, 2 bathrooms and the kitchen, and it's more room, but at a lower price, and you just work. It's a great system. So yeah, check that out. It's the way people travel now, because hotels are just astronomical. I mean, it's just ridiculous how expensive they're getting.
They are way expensive.
Yeah. So what if now your daughter, you've got the 2 daughters, do they sell on eBay themselves yet? Are they interested in doing that?
Not yet. They work in the restaurant business now, but every day, you know, they come home and talk about, you know, some people are just mean. And a couple of times both of my girls will be like, Mom, I don't know if I can do this job. And I'm like, come on in the eBay room. I'll teach you how to sell eBay. And they're like, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm like, anytime, and there's plenty of stuff you can take pictures of if you want.
Yeah. Neither one of mine were interested until, well, my daughter graduated from high school and she just didn't know what she wanted to do. And I was like, well, then you can learn the business for a while and see if you like it. And I kept giving her more things to do, and she was very good at it. And now what's interesting is she just turned 25, and she's making more money having her own eBay store and doing like my social media and things like that than people she went to high school with that have a degree. So
wow,
college is not the path for everyone. There's all kind of things you can do. And you know, I had looked at it as like, you know, let's take a year and just learn this business. Then you'll have this skill. No matter where you go, you can always make extra money on the side because you know how to do this. And it is a skill. Not everybody can do it. You said that people bring you stuff to sell. Are they just giving it to you, or do they want you to sell it for them?
Well, sometimes they want me to sell it for them. And I just don't have the time, you know, and I try to be as nice as possible, you know, like if you want me to sit down for an hour, I'll be happy to show you how to make up your own eBay account and log in, and I'll give you some tips and tricks of what I do. And you just really have to jump in on your own and do it. But I do get tons of people who, oh, how about you just sell this for me on eBay? And I try, like, I have enough going on with my job and trying to sell my own stuff. So
yeah, and I just did a video on that because that is so common.
I watched that video last night.
Were you like nodding the whole time? Yep, I've said that. Yeah, well, I mean, people do see it as a skill and like, oh, it's too much trouble to learn. Even I have an older sister who, she just can't understand why I do this. And it's like, you know, I don't think she's ever been in a thrift store. And she's like, oh, are you doing that thing today where you go around and get stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that thing.
Yeah.
And then I have another sister who's younger, and she and her husband are kind of like, they don't like the internet. They just think that everything's a scam and just all this kind of stuff. And they just won't, you know, I've like, oh, you can make all this extra money. Their kids get it. Their kids sell stuff, my niece and nephew, but they're just like, oh no, the internet's dangerous. And I'm like,
you just have to get over the hump and just try it. It really isn't that bad once you start trying. Because I used to, before I sold on eBay, I would have yard sales. And I could kick myself, like, why didn't I sell that stuff on eBay? But it's just, the hardest thing is just getting started. You just need to log in eBay, create your account, and just do it.
Well, I mean, the benefits of a yard sale is like half your stuff is gone in a day and you have cash.
Yes.
Then you look at eBay and it's like, oh, I could sell this to anyone in the world 24 hours a day. And you just have to make up a system. I did yard sales too. And in fact, that's what I was doing when I had just gotten a divorce and been downsized out of the job for the third time in 2 years, because I was
Wow.
always the part-timer and that's the first one to go. And it was never like, you suck at this job, we're firing you. It's just like, oh, we're making cuts. I always worked for small companies, and it was just like, really, I'm not doing this again. So I was getting ready to have a garage sale, and my neighbor's like, why don't you sell out on eBay? And I didn't know what it was. And I was like, that sounds perfect. I'm going to just do a 24-hour-a-day garage sale online all the time. And, I just got it right away. So I think, you're right. It's just like, you have to look at the big picture of, how do I want to do this all the time? But then you start seeing that money come in. So let's talk about that. Your numbers. What kind of profit are you seeing every month?
I would say, well, with Maggie's car, that came in a lot. I mean, without what I was doing for her car, I usually make $300 to $500 extra a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just doing it as a hobby. And that actually, we have another Honda Civic, which is newer. So usually that money goes to pay the car payment on my 2015 Honda Civic. But then having that car payment is just a pain. And I'm just like, I'm not buying another car to have a car payment. I'm going to do what I can and sell whatever I can on eBay and the Facebook marketplace. And I'm going to come up with the money to buy Maggie's car. And luckily, thank God, I was able to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and $500 a month extra is nothing to sneeze at, really. I mean, that's $6,000 a year, which pays for a lot of things. So, I mean, if you're holding down a full-time job, your husband has a full-time job, you've got teenagers, you've got a house, you've got all this stuff to do. And, you've seen my videos, and it's like, not everybody wants this gigantic eBay business with employees and thousands of items. I don't want thousands of items. I want to see if I can get to 1,000, but I don't even know if that is going to be feasible. Like, if I want to do it now, I've committed to it publicly, but I just wanted to see like what would happen if I had 1,000 items, and so what kind of money would that make? And is it sustainable for me? But, $500 a month extra it just kind of takes the stress off. Like, it's not paycheck to paycheck kind of thing all the time.
Right. And it helps. It really does help, because this past year, I mean, every time we turned around, the washer, the dryer was breaking, the furnace, and the eBay just kind of catches up the slack, if something comes up. But I mean, you just have to be dedicated, though. You have to stick with what you say you're going to do on eBay. Get those death piles out, which you motivated me to do that in December. I have no death piles now, so it's a good.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, good for you. Good. Okay. Well, and it's just, I'm sure you get discouraged because you have slow weeks.
Yes. But I don't let it, because I've been doing it so long, you have the seasons where you're busy and the seasons where you're not. And I just don't let it bother me anymore or worry about it, because eventually stuff's going to sell. And if you are slow, I watched another video of yours, how to increase your sales, which I think I already mentioned that. And I did everything you said. I went back through all my old listings, double checked everything, took better pictures, and things just started really selling after I, took your advice and did all that stuff.
Well, and you've been selling for 7 years now. So you've seen the cycle, and when you have, sometimes, I go 2 whole days, with nothing selling, and I have 700 items between my 2 stores right now. So it's just like, just don't pay attention to it. You just keep listing, keep finding great items. And then, like, The third day, I'll sell like 12 things in 4 hours. It's so weird how it just is on and off like that. And, there's that theory of eBay has rolling blackouts where certain areas are blacked out or your stuff doesn't show in search. And, I don't even care if that's true. I don't know if it's true, but I don't even care because I'm still getting sales.
I don't either. As long as you're selling stuff. And I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to sell one thing a day. I mean,
but it always comes back. It's not like, oh, eBay's over. It's this is the end. We're done. No, it just always comes back, and you just can't focus on what's not happening. Keep doing things that you can control to move forward and listing stuff.
Right. And two, I think some people get discouraged, but me, I never give up. I just push through because eventually good things will come. You will sell stuff on eBay, and I'm a good example. I mean, I made enough money to pay for Maggie's car, so which it was a lot of work, with my full-time job. There was nights that I was up past midnight working on eBay stuff, but I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready. And usually in the morning on my way to work, I have a routine that any packages that I need to ship, I take them with me and just drop them off on my way to work. Because of my lack of time, I try to use my time wisely.
Yeah, you've worked everything in so that you can, keep your feedback good and no defects, and you're shipping everything. Do you have one-day handling?
Yes, I did have 2, but when I started watching your videos in the fall, I changed it to 1. And
that's, you got to do what works for you. And I had a real estate job a few years ago, and I had to change my handling time to like 3 days because I just couldn't keep up. And I would rather do that than get defects for late shipping. So, there's no shame in if you can't have one-day handling, because sometimes it just doesn't work. You just can't fit it in. It's too much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, sometimes it's, it's too much. And two, when you're at home, it's always, oh, I need to run and do this, or I need to run and do that, which interrupts, when I'm trying to list stuff on eBay. But that's the great thing about eBay. You can do it anytime you want. You can do it 3 o'clock in the morning. And plus it's a hobby. It's like, I know this is silly, but like reading a book, I'm like, if I took the time to read a book for 4 days, all that time I took, I could be listing stuff on eBay, not reading this book.
I'm like the same, I love reading. And back when my kids were little, before the internet was all like it is now, I'd put them to bed at night and I would read for like 3 hours. And I was plowing through books, but now it's like, oh, I could be making money.
Spend that 3 hours on eBay.
Yeah. So, and I still read about 30 minutes a night. It's just kind of unwind and not be looking at the computer. But, I see it as this huge potential and all this opportunity. And it's like, I have financial goals too. And it's like, I need to be on there working on it now, not sticking my nose in a book for 3 hours.
Right.
Well, and then I do books on like Audible. I listen to books. So that's great. It's not the same experience of holding the book and getting into it, and you've got your snuggly blanket and your cup of coffee and you're enjoying that. It's like, well, I can still listen to it while I'm working.
Right. Or in the car as you're driving. Sometimes I'll do that because I just can't read a book. I don't have time. But back and forth to work, I'll just put it, a book in the CD player and just listen to it that way.
Well, a lot of them are on YouTube for free now. People are putting audiobooks up there. I came across one the other day, like The Life of Coco Chanel or something like that. And it's like a 5-hour YouTube video, but it's the audiobook. So it's like, you don't have to pay for them anymore. They're free.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I think we've covered everything that we were going to talk about. I mean, you've really made this work and, accomplished a huge goal that a lot of people want to accomplish. And when you think about buying that car with cash and the interest that you're not paying over 4 years on a loan, that's worth the 6 months of really working hard to get there.
Definitely. It was worth it.
Well, do you have any advice for people in your situation that are full-time and they're getting this eBay business set up for whatever reason?
Just being smart about selling stuff on eBay. Make sure you do your homework and your research and use your time wisely. I take my pictures on my cell phone, and then if I get a spare minute in the car, even, we got to run somewhere and my husband's running into the store, I'm in the car listing stuff on eBay. Any time that I get, I use it to my advantage to get stuff on eBay. And just don't give up. I mean, it can be hard, really hard, but just push through and you can do what I did. I bought my daughter a car.
And next time you're going to buy something for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Don't forget about you.
I know I'll give people the shirt off my back, and sometimes I just have to, like you said, you have to focus on yourself now and then, so you can recharge and keep going.
Yeah. Especially as the mom, you have to force yourself to have downtime because you're just going to burn out and then you're no use to anybody. So
Right.
sometimes you do have to just lay around and read a book.
Yes. And two, I mean, between my full-time job and eBay, I'm always constantly thinking about stuff. And I'll lay in bed, like, oh, I should really get up and take those pictures, or I need to check and do some research. But it is important to take time out for yourself, because once you do so much better at the things that you need to do.
Well, it is hard to disconnect because if I'm not doing something on one of my businesses, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next. Like, oh, I need to make a video about this, or, oh, I need to go on and look at the Money Making Monday and see what people sold. Or, you're always thinking about like, what's the next thing? And it's the nature of what we do, because it's not like you're a dentist and you close your door at 5 o'clock and that's all you have to do for that day and you're done and you go home. This is just like 24/7, 365 days a year. It never stops. So you have to draw those boundaries yourself to, make sure you don't get burned out.
Yes. And there are days, like I've slowed down this past couple of weeks because I had, I met that goal. And I'm just, the last 2 days, I've just been, I'm on vacation this week. So I just have been working eBay as much as I can. I enjoy it.
And you'll see, I mean, it's delayed gratification. You do that work now, and 6 months from now, things that you listed today are finally going to sell, or maybe longer. That's what I'm noticing with this send offer feature. Stuff I've had for a long time is selling. It's like, maybe I can slow down this week and I don't have to be in a listing frenzy because old stuff is selling and you've done the work and it catches up and things eventually sell. So you just have to pace yourself.
Yeah, you just have to make balance. It's important to have some type of balance, with work and life and eBay. And two, I noticed this week I had a couple things that I was going to send to Goodwill. I'm like, I'm not going to even bother with them. And then I was like, I listed them on eBay and they sold and made more money than something I thought was going to sell. So you just never know.
What is your best sale of all time? The highest dollar sale you've had? I sold a cell phone.
And I think it was my highest was $100 I got for it. And it was one of the girls' old iPhones.
Okay.
Because, you know, how everyone, all the new phones are out now. So I was like,
Always. Yeah, you can't keep up.
you can't.
Yeah. So
But
you've seen some high dollar sales, even with just stuff you had around the house.
and even the, like I said, the things that you don't think would sell. I had a book. It was an old book. It was like paper. It was a paperback book, and I don't even remember the brand of it. But I had literally went outside and I was going to chuck it in the garbage. I'm like, this is not going to sell. And something told me not to do that. And I brought it in the house and I listed it at a 99-cent auction. And it was apparently a first edition, and it sold for $30. And I was going to throw it in the garbage. I'm like,
Yeah, that's what keeps us addicted. Like, don't throw that away.
I know, I always go through stuff to send to Goodwill. Like, I don't want to mess with this. And then sure enough, I'm getting it out to list on eBay.
Well, and even the low dollar sales are good for your store overall because you're getting sales. That's an activity. eBay search likes active stores. So I do the same thing. It's like, I probably get $10 for that. Is it worth my time? Yes. I mean, because some days that's all you get are these low dollar sales, or you get low offers on something you've had listed a year and you're like, okay, yes, take that, get rid of it. I'm tired of it. So, you know, you just, like you said, you have to balance your time. And, you know, it would be nice if everything we listed would sell for $50 or more, but it's the mix. I mean, look at McDonald's.
Right.
They have all kinds of things on their menu. They have all kinds of price points. And so you got to be McDonald's. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us your story today. And like I said, a link to her store is under the video. And, you know, she made this happen. So she's an inspiration, and you guys can do this too. So just keep going with it.
Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I really appreciate it, Suzanne.
Thanks so much, Stacey. See you on Facebook.
All right. See ya. Bye.